You are listening to episode 7 of the Simple Farmhouse Life podcast. Today I'm going to share a glimpse into what a daily day in the life looks like for me and my family. We are a family of 6, family of 8. We have 6 kids. We homeschool, we have our business at home. We're all here all the time, and I think a lot of people might wonder how that actually works. My name is Lisa, mom of 6 and creator of the blog and YouTube channel Farmhouse on Boone. Join me as I share with you my love for creating a handmade home from scratch cooking and a little mom and entrepreneur life along the way. The first thing that I want to say about this topic is this is not something that is the exact same every day, which is why it's kind of hard to even do an episode like this. Now, over on my YouTube channel, I have shared several different day in the life videos that are all very different, but they do kind of have a similar flow, and I could probably share 2 different examples of a day in the life depending on the day. Let's start with a day in the life on a Monday morning. And also, again, another little side tangent here. Daniel, my 6th born, was just born 3 months ago. You hear him snoring. I know you do. Everyone told me that they didn't hear him in my last podcast. I think they were trying to be nice because you can definitely hear him today. And I know that. But he was born 3 months ago, and so what my day in the life looks like right now is not the same at all of how it looked 6 months ago. Because 6 months ago, we had 5 kids, we had a toddler that took a nap, I wasn't wearing a baby at all times, I didn't need to stop and nurse. So things just constantly change, and we have to reevaluate as the seasons change too. That's another thing. In the winter, the day in the lives look different because we're all kind of cooped up in this house. Now, if it's over 30 degrees, and it's sunny, the kids are going to go outside because, being all in the same house all day is definitely not good for anyone, especially little boys. They get really rambunctious. So in the summer, when we don't really need to worry about homeschool because we kind of follow the typical calendar year that the school kids follow, and summers are just wild and free. I love summer. And a day might look like Luke taking most of the kids outside for half the day, and I can get tons of blog work done. Whereas the day in the life right now involves me recording podcasts in my pantry at 9 o'clock at night, like what's going on right now, because we are in the house and things are just a little bit different. So right now, with my 3-month-old, I roll out of bed around 7:30. Now, usually I've woken up before then, but Daniel is just a little sweet angel baby, and he keeps sleeping. And he sleeps probably his most sound from about 10 o'clock at night until around 8 a.m., which is so weird. I have never had a kid that sleeps in, not even a newborn. Usually, as soon as everybody else is kind of up and going, the baby is always up too. But we have kids that come in our room. Micah usually wakes up a little bit cranky, and so he might be crying or throwing a fit. And still, Daniel just snoozes away till about 8 a.m. So I usually don't get out of bed because I don't want to disturb him, and who wants to get out of a warm bed with a cuddly 3-month-old baby? Not me. Until 7 or 7:30. Now I try to get myself to get out more like 7:15 because I need to move on to the next part, which is getting breakfast going, and then we have our homeschool routine. So usually for breakfast, I go through phases actually. For a while, we were doing this egg bake thing, and I would take eggs, scramble them up, add whatever veggies we had in the refrigerator, peppers. Sometimes I'd throw in like leftover potatoes from the night before or onions, just kind of whatever I had in the fridge, and then add some cheese, and I'd put it in my oven, and then we'd go outside and do some morning exercises with the kids and morning chores like the chickens, and then we'd come back in and it would be fully cooked and we would have breakfast. But now that it is winter and it's too cold, the kids are all in the kitchen while we're making breakfast. Right now, I'm kind of in a crepe phase. I showed this on a recent YouTube video. Basically what I do is I stir together a dozen eggs, a little bit of cream, a little bit of sourdough starter, add blueberries, and make these crepes. So it's still largely eggs, but it's in a way that the kids don't really know that they're eating a ton of eggs. Right after breakfast, the girls and Luke, so the girls are the older 2 kids in our family, they'll go out and do the chicken chores. They have to move the mobile chicken coop to a new fresh patch of grass and bugs and dirt. and feed them and water them. Right now that it involves, dealing with frozen water and all that kind of stuff, getting the eggs. And then we aim to have Luke and the 2 oldest girls upstairs by 8 a.m. This was a recent thing that we decided to do. We are on a date night. Luke and I go on a date night every single week, and this is usually when we get our best strategizing done because the weeks kind of feel like a blur, and this is just our time to be like, hey, how are things working? And on a recent date night, we kind of decided that we have 3 full-time jobs. We have the blog, we have the boys, and we have the girls and homeschooling. And it felt like we weren't really being able to prioritize everything like we wanted. So part of my strategy involves help. So I have help with my blog, and delegating more tasks and being more organized about that has really helped because it allows me to step away and not do as much with the blog in this season of life that we have right now. And then another thing that we did was designate set school hours. Luke takes the 2 girls, they're 9 and 11, upstairs for 2 hours, and it's 1-on-2 time where they can go and do their reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the 3 skills that I feel like kids really need one-on-one. We have this app that we do for math, and for a while I would sit the girls down and just tell them to work on their app. But once you start getting in those more advanced stages of math, they really need an adult to guide them through it. And so we're finding that we really needed that 1-on-2 time because for a while, Luke would take all the kids upstairs, I would hammer out some computer work, and that was going to be the homeschool time. But if any of you are homeschool moms, unless you maybe have way more structure than we do, that trying to take care of a newborn, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and 6-year-old, all boys, while also homeschooling 2 older girls is just ineffective at best. So now I trap the boys. That's definitely not a nice way of saying it, but we have a nice large kitchen. In the kitchen, dining room area, thankfully we have 2 French doors that really make this whole system easy. Luke takes the girls upstairs. There's a little couch that sits at the top of the steps. He has all of his homeschool materials there. And then me and the boys are in the kitchen. Right now, this looks like chaos because we can't go outside. But I started coming up with something the last few days, actually probably the last couple weeks that we do. I make them a stretchy tortilla dough, and still right now, which I'm sure that after probably a few weeks of doing this, they're going to be sick of it and it won't be fun anymore. But still right now, they can be entertained for at least an hour, so at least half of the homeschool time, rolling out dough and making little dough balls and little donuts they think they're making when they make them into circles and bagels, and it is something that keeps them occupied. Now I have plans to get some art supplies that I keep in the kitchen that we can use during that time, but honestly, spring can't come soon enough and we'll just be spending that entire time outside. But since we're inside now, that time from 8 to 10 is also a good time for me to do some lunch prep because I'm in there with the boys in the kitchen and, I can get lunch and dinner prepared so that the rest of the day I don't have to worry about food at all. In an upcoming YouTube video I have coming out this week, actually, I got the camera out while I was cooking so that I could kind of show you what it is I'm actually making. Now, after the whole family gets back together after the 8 to 10 time, the girls still do some school things throughout the day. It is just stuff that is a little bit more self-directed. So they both are in private music lessons. We have an instructor come here once a week on Tuesdays, and he spends a half an hour with each girl. One of them is learning violin, the other guitar. And so they will do their music lessons throughout the day. They also have some copy work that they have to do with their handwriting and just a few other things that they do. But we like that dedicated time just for the things that really require some hands-on learning. So after the 8 to 10 time, then lately, Luke has been taking the kids all upstairs, and I close those same French doors in the kitchen and start doing some blog work. For a blogger, this looks like editing blog posts. It looks like planning content, keyword research, which is something you learn about, search engine optimization if you do get serious with blogging. It looks like sending out emails to my newsletter, answering emails, answering comments. I get tons of emails and I like to respond to all of them. Planning content for Instagram. There is just so many tasks. Editing videos for YouTube, writing out recipes, testing recipes. So that I use usually will do, at least for right now, from about 10 until noon. And then around noon, everyone comes back downstairs, we have lunch, and then we do afternoon nap times. So at this point currently, we only have one kid that actually goes down for a nap, and that is the 2-year-old. Now for a while there, he was getting out of his crib, which was not fun. But now he is actually back to taking a nap. And then the other 4 kids go in their room, and it's just kind of a quiet time. So they can play toys, they can read books, but they just can't get out. So this is usually a time that I have a little bit more of a quiet house. So if in the morning I'm doing more of that computer work that doesn't really require the house to be quiet, in the afternoon, that's when a lot of times I will shoot my videos. If I get enough time, I will do a podcast episode. I'll do voiceovers for videos and just a few more blog tasks. Then around 3, nap time's over, and then usually it's just evening things. On Monday, which is the sample day in the life I'm doing right now, we have gymnastics for the girls. So we have to be in town by 5:05, and we are there for 2 hours. And then a lot of times we like to take the boys swimming. So right now, Luke's taking the boys swimming, and then I'll stay home with the little boys. So in that slot from 3 to 5 on our sample Monday, it usually looks like a really early dinner and just getting prepared for the evening of going to gymnastics. And then when they get home around 7:30, we start doing bedtime things. So that's how a typical Monday looks, but that is definitely not the everyday schedule. That is a schedule that I'm doing more of my blog work, and that is what I would say Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday look like pretty much normally, unless there's something else that comes up, which definitely happens. For example, today's Tuesday, and I had to go meet with the accountant, and so we were out all morning long, and I'm getting all my work done now. Let's talk about a Friday. Now, my sister, Laura, she was on this podcast in the last episode. We were talking about gaps. We like to get together on Fridays. We've been doing this ever since I moved to our new town. I'm now an hour away from Laura, and we used to see each other kind of throughout the week. So we decided that to make it a priority to, our kids to still see each other as often as they did before, that we would meet in the middle on Fridays. Now, she's also a blogger, so she gets all of her blog work done throughout the week. I get mine done throughout the week, and we know that Friday, we're not really doing anything. In the winter, this looks like going to the trampoline park all day. Last Friday, we actually had an unseasonably warm day. I think it was in the 50s, so we went to the park, we went down to the creek, we climbed trees, and then, we just spent that time outside. We usually try to get together after the morning school time, so the kids still do that morning school time, and I still do the time in the kitchen with my boys. And then we meet up with Laura, and we're usually doing that until the end of the workday, and then we just come home in time for the evening. So typically on that day, I really don't get any blog work done at all. Now, I might pop the camera out, and I might film my meal prep that we're doing in the morning so that I can put it on a What We Eat in a Week video or something like that, but I'm not really getting any serious blog work done. Same goes for Saturday and Sunday. I never do any blog work those days. Now, I forgot to mention, bedtime on a typical night is around 7 for the boys. Daniel just still sleeps in the wrap whenever he wants to, but the other 3 boys. And then the girls around 8:30. Other than the gymnastics night, we usually do dinner around 6 o'clock. Now, of course, with summer, that sometimes goes a little bit later just because we're out and about, it's warm, it's daylight, and we might be hiking or spending time outside. But with the 6 o'clock dinner, we usually get done around 6:30. And then Luke will take Micah upstairs for his bedtime routine. I will take Daniel and then Eli and Jude, which are the 6 and 4-year-old boys, upstairs for their bedtime routine while the older girls clean the kitchen. Now, during the 7 to 8:30 time, a lot of times me and the girls will sit in the living room, turn on Netflix. I'll usually do some light computer work, the easy stuff like scheduling Pinterest posts or answering DMs, just kind of that stuff that doesn't really require much brain space. And then I usually check out around 8:30. So after that, I like to get me a bowl of yogurt pretty much every night. It's a habit I started when I was pregnant with Micah, and I have yet to be able to break it. So we're going about 3 years strong on this one, and one of these days maybe I'll break the habit, but probably not. I love my late night bowl of yogurt. And then that's when I get to watch my shows, like my home decor shows. I love all things HGTV. Sometimes I watch Good Eats with Alton Brown. Sometimes I watch Jeopardy. Those are kind of my top shows, and it's just chill time. Now, when I first started my blog and for the first 2 years, so before Luke was home from his job and we were doing this thing full time, I had to fit a lot of my blog work into the late at night times. I would, after the kids were in bed, I would stay up till midnight and work on blog stuff, and I am so past that part in my life. I just don't have the steam to do it anymore. Although I might get a few things done late at night, and like I'm doing right now with this podcast, because we're out of the house all day today, I typically don't, and I definitely don't prefer it. I just find that I function so much better when I have that time to look forward, that I can just kind of chill out and do whatever I want, whether it be read a book, listen to a podcast, watch Netflix. I try most nights to give myself that opportunity just to chill out and enjoy some quiet time. I know whenever I sometimes share day in the life videos, people ask, when's my time with Luke? And we really get a lot of time. For example, this evening, we drove out to a town about 30 minutes away from here to pick up our raw milk. And before we went on a hike, and we have all that time in the car to hang out. Obviously, we're together all day. We have breakfast in the morning together. We have coffee together. And then, of course, we have that after 8:30 time just to chill out, watch Netflix, do whatever we want. So there you go. I have recalled a day in the life-ish. And that's a very big ish because, like I said, it just changes so much throughout the seasons, throughout, the ages of our kids, what we're doing currently. So, for example, we are starting Classical Conversations. It's a homeschool co-op that we're going to go to on Thursday. Thursday now, we're going to be out of the house all day, and Friday with my sister. You just kind of squeeze in the to-dos and the work that needs to be done whenever you can. Luke and I were just talking this morning about the current commitments, what I'm currently doing. I try to aim for 2 blog posts a week, 2 videos on my YouTube channel, and then 3 podcast episodes, because that's something new that I've added. And we were talking about it. Do I have enough time right now to do all of those things without, having to add too much stress to our life? And just this week, we kind of reevaluated some of that. And I was sharing all of my tutorial videos on YouTube, and they're kind of stressful to make. And I find that my audience on there really prefers more of the lifestyle videos, and the lifestyle ones I can capture really easily while we're just going about our normal day. We decided right now that I was going to focus more on my blog in updating old posts, making them more search engine friendly. I actually have a girl that helps me write my posts, and it's a major help to have someone that helps me write. Having her go back and focus more on the updating, and then I can do less of the tutorials just for this season of life. Now, of course, there'll still be some of that, but it was really getting stressful trying to hammer those out every single week without just the videos that kind of document the life, which is so much more easily integrated into our regular life, showing what we eat, showing where we're going in the winter, especially. That just feels right. I have my book launch coming up soon. That's going to be another thing. And that's what I love about date nights, where we can talk about these things and constantly reevaluate where the business is going, what we should be focusing on, and where our family is and what we actually have time to focus on. Because the entire reason that we decided to start a blog and have the goal of bringing Luke home from his job in a couple years was for time freedom. It wasn't to have this business that took up more time than before. It was to build something that allowed us to only focus on it, a few designated hours throughout the week, and then be able to spend time with our family. And that's just something that just requires constant reevaluation. So, I'll probably be sharing another day in the life maybe in a few months, and it might be completely different. Right now, I would say that I probably work on my blog, me personally. Now I have other people that help me with my blog, but me personally, probably less than 20 hours per week. But when I'm launching something, like when last summer I did my video for bloggers course, and the summer before I did my Create Your Blog Dream course, those were crazy times. Those were not 20-hour a week or less blog work times. Those were much more than 40. And so taking on those kind of projects is something that we evaluate if we're ready for. When I did those other things, I had 5 kids, not 6. And I bet you As soon as Daniel starts going down for naps and bedtimes, which I usually start to transition to around 1-ish, I'll probably want to take on another big project because that's just my personality type. I am the type that really loves to have a big project going on. I definitely overextend myself, but it's almost how I thrive. But right now, at this exact moment, it totally feels right to be on kind of this coasting mode of maintaining what I have and not building something new. That is, for me, the reason why I love this as a career. It's just amazing to be able to have so much flexibility and to decide in each season of life, what you're going to really worry about and push for. Or if we want to step back a little bit for a little while, we can totally do that too. All right, well, thank you so much for listening to me as I ramble on and try to recall what a day in the life looks like with 6 kids, working from home, and trying to manage all of that with homeschooling. I do plan to share more of our homeschooling routine. I've gotten a lot of requests for that, and just some more business tips too that I've learned over the past 4 years as I've had my blog, brought my husband home from his job, and I can't wait to share a lot of that with you. I'm taking lots of notes so that I can just kind of get my thoughts all out. But I love this ongoing conversation of a podcast. So as I think of more, I'm able to share it. And as you guys ask me for things, because I have an inbox full of emails saved from people who've given me podcast recommendations, which is amazing. I'm keeping all of them, and I cannot wait to start checking those off as I keep making more and more episodes. Now, if you've ever wanted to start a blog of your very own and share your own passions with the world, I designed a free email course that gives you access to the steps that it takes to start your very own blog. You can get that at bit.ly/start a blog from scratch. That is bit.ly/start a blog from scratch. Make sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast player and leave a review. That would mean so much to me. And as always, thank you so much for listening.